Good evening and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. You're with Dan, Clem, and Ricky. Liverpool won. The 115ers won. In the end, a good result. Could have won it. Penalties, goals from corners, chances missed. Is this a chance missed for us to really put one hand kind of going forward into this title race, or is the title race not start until Arsenal City next week? So we're going to go into that one. And before we get into it, I want to just introduce Clem, Ricky. Clem, how have you been, mate? Thanks very much for coming on. What did you make of the game? Anything that stood out to you? And how do you feel about the results?
Yeah, thanks, Dan and Ricky. Great to be with you and talk about this game, which is one of the biggest games, if not the biggest of the season. Bittersweet end, guys, the way I'm feeling now. Obviously, I'm taking into account what I thought was a penalty at the end, but we rewind, we go back to the beginning, and I thought, yeah, City were the better side early in the game. Once we settled, the lads, started to play some balls. I thought the midfield guys absolutely bossed it. Towards the end of the game, of course, we were all over them, had our chances to really, get a stranglehold on this title. But I think we're well and truly still in it. So, I would have taken a draw heading into the game, but the feeling, the emotions are still there, having just watched the game, thinking that we could have won it.
No, definitely. There's definitely a lot to unwrap there, and I think over the course of the next few days we'll be able to look at it with kind of our sensible head on to say whether or not is the chance missed. Is it something that we should have done better with, or was it something which, to be honest with you, like you said, if you'd offered me at 25 minutes gone when we were 1-0 down, I'd have taken a draw all day long, and I thought that was the absolute minimum result that we needed to take. The best result, of course, would have been winning. But the minimum result was just not to lose, to ensure that we stay top of the table, albeit not on goal difference, but to ensure that when the next game happens between City and Arsenal, this allows us an opportunity to hopefully gain a march on one, and if we're lucky, both of them, if we are lucky enough to beat Brighton. Ricky, great for being on. Thanks very much for having us, mate. Any chance you can just let us know what your opinions were? What did you make of the game? Anything that stood out to you that you missed from?
Well, I feel the game, it was a disappointment, to be honest. It should be a penalty. Everyone saw it because we lost 2 points. Liverpool should win, but I feel the referees is not only in the England. These kind of decisions is happening around the world. I think referees should do better. We have VAR. Why still we have affected those decisions is affecting every team in the league. Today, I feel like the referees is helping a City. I feel like disappointed, but it's kind of good result with having today. We're still in the top 3 in the league. But Arsenal is in the top right now, but they have a goal difference. I think we could do better. With Luis Diaz, we lose the chance. Diaz to score a second goal. I think the team we need to do better. The new games, the few games we're having.
No, 100%. I agree. Looking at the situation now, when we look at what happened in the first half, Manchester City, as Clem rightfully said, they were much better. For the first 10 minutes, it was really nerve-wracking because they had 3, I believe, if I'm counting correctly, at least 2, but 3 very, very good opportunities to score an early goal. And unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalise, which is unlike Man City. Perhaps that's the Anfield atmosphere. They then obviously got the goal from the corner, which was really, really unfortunate that we conceded that because it looked very sloppy defensively from us. It caught us napping. We weren't ready for it. McAllister had this block. Is it a block? I don't know. They're of the opinion that it wasn't. It's not quite similar to the Endo situation because he's not offside. I understand that, but at the same time, actively getting in the way of a player who is the front man. He is the front mark post, and he's not capable of being able to get in front of it. That is unfortunate. Boys, Clem, I'll go to you first. Your opinions of the goal. Is there anything that we could have done better in that situation? Is there anything about it that you felt was unjust or unfair, or was this just very, very clever from Manchester City?
I'll say they were definitely clever, and it was a set play. It was a set piece that they practiced, of course. I agree with you where I don't really think it was a free kick or a penalty or an offside decision. But having said that, it was definitely a defensive error. You've always got to guard your near post, your back post. Kelleher did his best to get to that position, and got a touch on it. We don't know if Alisson would have been able to do the same or better. And it's certainly not the keeper's error, but you just never know. But yeah, it's just a really unfortunate way to concede. I always felt like we were going to score. So I wasn't sitting there thinking like, oh, the game's lost after that. But I was sitting there thinking, man, what a cheap way to score. And unfortunately, you don't give up that set piece, and we don't concede that goal. Yeah, I've really got to watch it back again. Apologies, guys, if I didn't, highlight, maybe another player that could have done better. But yeah, on initial thoughts, I thought McAllister was definitely blocked. No one really came to his aid, to sort of take up that space.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was a little bit of, I suppose, criticism thrown at Nunes was there. I don't know. For me, I felt that it was just very, very clever for Manchester City. And it is disappointing because you don't want to be on the wrong end of that. You don't want to be the team who takes that and goes, right, they caught us there. They caught us uncharacteristically napping, as it were. And it was an unfortunate way to concede a goal and put you on that back foot. And yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't think really there's anything to overly get about there. It was a mistake. It was an error. It's something which they've worked on. Like Jesse here has actually said that Stones has said that they practiced it yesterday. So they've seen something in our corner routine when it comes to defence, that there is space to be had. There is a way to, if you get it right, which is what they absolutely did, you can get a really good opportunity from it. And potentially on another day, CK makes a great save, and it isn't a goal, and it isn't something which affects us and damages us, but today it did. But what I will say is, and I'm going to ask Ricky this, is I actually think Manchester City were better before they scored the goal. When they scored the goal, they never recovered. I don't think they were ever as good. What was your opinion on that? Do you think Manchester City suffered from scoring the goal that early? Do you think maybe they could have benefited from scoring it a little bit later on?
Yeah, I think after City scored the goal, they reduced the level. He was like, "Oh, we're happy with the one goal, and then we take an advance. We start attacking. How is club we play?" But I feel like it's one thing. Like Anfield is a great atmosphere against other teams, so I feel like City went soft the second time when they scored the goal. Oh, it's okay. We can win by one goal. So I think it was a big mistake by City, but I feel like we can win this game. But I think at one point is something good in some point. But I think in the next game, City against Arsenal is going to be difficult because Arsenal is playing a really high level right now, scoring 5 goals, 6 goals in the last 3-4 games. And Guardiola, if they lose Ederson, is going to be a big lose by City.
You're absolutely right, and that is going to be a really interesting one for us because, as you say, Arsenal have been playing some fantastic football, not just scoring lots of goals. Unfortunately, lost in the Champions League in the game against Porto. That caught them out a little bit, something which was kind of out of character. And then the Brentford game was a little bit different. It was a result which was really important to them, scoring that late goal and coming up against a Brentford team who were quite resolute, to be honest. They've been terrible this season for a number of reasons. I'm not picking out anyone individually with that Brentford team, but I think their time is done. I think the time as a team is kind of, I think people have sussed them out, as it would appear now, because they've just not been very good. Defensively, they've been really poor. They've had injuries, of course, but every team has had injuries. Every team has been there, and us no more so have had injuries. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to discuss. So we drew the game. It was 1-1. And looking at that second half, it was disappointing. And I can understand why. You were home. would be disappointed, why I could be disappointed. But let's just look at some context. Let's just take into account some of the information. We didn't start the game with Mohamed Salah. Alisson is injured. Trent Alexander-Arnold is injured. Dominic Szoboszlai has only just come back from an injury. Darwin Núñez has only just come back from an injury. We're playing without Konate. We're playing with two lads who've got less than 20 games of experience in them, in Bradley and Kwanzaa, who've been absolutely exceptional. However, none of these things are ideal. None of these things are the things that you want to be doing playing against Manchester City. They were fantastic. That was Manchester City with everybody, with the full band, with everyone fit. Diaz was on the bench, okay, but he was fit enough clearly to be on the bench, so he was available. They had all the team. We didn't. And looking at that situation, looking at that team, and if I said to you at the start of the season in August, that was the team we'll play, my question to everyone would be, would you take a draw? And I don't think anyone would sit there and say to me, no. I think they would say, and I think that is a good result for us. It's a better result for Arsenal. It's a secondary result good for us, which means that we didn't lose, and we're now still top of the table. I know we're not there on goal difference, but it's still there. It still means we've got the right amount of points for where we need to be. The next biggest game, of course, is when we play Brighton. And, of course, the next biggest game is when we play Sheffield United. And every game's a final going forward now. So my kind of going forward from that one there, Clem, we'll go into just something which I slightly off-piste. What did you make of Darwin Núñez? What I was really pleased with what he was doing, albeit frustrated with the number of times that he was getting caught offside. Do you feel that was a Darwin Núñez problem, or not being the ball released quick enough problem, or was it both?
Yeah, I thought Núñez was pretty solid. I thought he didn't get great supply. Maybe his best chance was, we're talking about just before coming on, obviously the 1v1, but the keeper came out on his line, came out quickly. So you can't really, put that as a huge chance. But the one where he had a header in the first half, guys, I'm just remembering now, the ball was kind of put behind him. And maybe if it was put ahead of him, he would have got a better purchase on it and been able to, really test the keeper. But that goes to my point. He didn't have great supply, but his work rate, as always, was good. To your other question, I think it was more we'll higher up the pitch, and he was not, being able to get back on side when that final ball was, being played through. And I thought the pass was just a step slow. Like when you need to break down City, you need to be connected and play the pass like, one touch sometimes and play him through really quick. Because if you don't do that, then you're gonna be caught offside a little bit more. So I thought we were a little bit slow with the final ball.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I felt that we struggled initially with the midfield situation that City play with, of course, playing 5 attacking players, overloading us in the midfield, which caused us a lot of issues. And I felt that we were having to play long an awful lot of times. And our midfield in that early 20-odd, 25 minutes weren't really able to get into the game. Whether it was a mixture of City's changing tactics or whether it was a mixture of City's energy levels just dropping, allowing those players to have a little bit more time and a little bit more space to play the passes around. And that when, for me, some of our best players of the game in Alexis McAllister and Endo really got involved and really started to take advantage of a midfield that should have been controlled by a Rodri and a De Bruyne and a Bernardo Silva. But in fact, actually, for a larger quantity of the game, I felt they were the two standout midfielders. Ricky, what was your views on McAllister and Endo? I mean, a joint value of just over £50 million. And somehow putting out performances like that. What did you make of them?
Yeah, well, Endo, since he arrived, he's showing like his capability to do a good work. We can trust Endo. He's a mature player. He's doing better than Caicedo, let's be honest. And McAllister, he's great. He's becoming an important player for us. I want Endo to stay unless 4 or 5 years. He's shown, I still have energy to show I can fight against Rodri, De Bruyne, Haaland. I can prove myself. Having Endo in my team, he's giving confidence. He's showing like maybe I'm not a big name like gimmick other players, but I still doing in a big team, a club giving the chance to join us. I like how Endon he's managed the team, how he's handled the whole team. He's for me, he's one of my favorite players right now from the new. And McAllister, he's becoming a leader. We need those kind of players who can make a big impact in the game. He can change how we playing. Is important for us. So I like Endo, and for me, he was outstanding today.
No, definitely a really good point. It's funny actually. A lot of people wrote Endo off before it all happened, and I didn't, because I've always on the line of belief that we've signed so many players who a lot of other fans of other teams took the Michael out, shall we say, and said, well, he'll be buying that player for, why have we bought them? And we seem to always find a certain player. And I watched those early games, and he has to come on and play 10 men against Newcastle, has to play 10 men against when we played against Bournemouth early on in the season. He never got the first ideal opportunity to come in there and show what he was capable of. And also at the same time, the step up that he's making is enormous. He's gone from a team who played relegation football in Stuttgart for the last 4 or 5 years, and has then come to a team like Liverpool where the expectation is to win everything: the speed of the Premier League, the speed of the team, the new tactics, the way that we play. And I always felt that when he did play, he always tries to do the simple stuff right. He tries to play a forward pass when he can. And it does sound really sort of, I don't know, cliche to sit there and say he just does all the right things. He's not flashy. He's not over the top with the things that he does. But he's been a brilliant signing for us, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic with a team that had Rodri in, who, by the way, was also excellent today at doing what he is capable of doing. I just felt that they were equals on that pitch. There wasn't this great gulf that many people were making a big deal out of, and that's testament to these lads, to go out there and to do that. And Dominic Szoboszlai coming back from injury, I don't feel that it was his best game. I felt that it was times I was frustrated with him. But that's okay. That's to be expected. We have a lot of football to play between now and the end of the season, and all my hope is that as we go into this little bit of a break and we can able to get some players kind of back up to match rhythm, and we can take advantage of that and go into this run now with these lads who have grown over the season. They've not even had a full season of football with us yet, and they are so pivotal to us in McAllister and Endo. So I was really, really impressed with them. We'll go into the second half now, and I think we'll talk about the situation that caused our goal, the penalty. I'll throw it out to Clem there. Do you feel that was? Do you feel that it could have been a red card? Now, I don't. I know the rules that it can't be, but there needs to be a question as to whether or not he was playing for the ball. And the injury that kind of came from it is a little bit of karma to it. I think that was in the makings from what we were talking about before with Nunes, where he was making these runs where he is on that line and he's causing that problem to be able to get that opportunity. And of course, he doesn't get an assist, he doesn't get a goal for it, but he was just as important in creating that situation. So was there anything from that situation you felt was there should have been a red card, or do you feel yellow card was okay?
Yeah, I could see how it could have been definitely given a red. I think it had the grounds to, but it's sort of a 50-50 for me, Dan, in terms of, do you give it? He just decided to give the pen, but the player, Edison had to go off, and we'll talk a little bit more about when the new keeper came on. But yeah, I mean that's what Darwin does. He's quick off his feet. He can take a half chance. I just while we're on Nunes, I'm not sure why the substitution was made. I love the chaos that he brings towards the end in a game. That magnifies when the opponents tire out. Maybe it was, he just had to substitute him because, he didn't have much left. That'd be interesting to find out. But in terms of Darwin, interesting that he doesn't take the penalties. But again, he created the goal. Say what you want, it was an error. But yeah, he was onto it. So lucky that he was switched on and he got into the position.
Yeah, absolutely. Something there. Jesse's put a couple of comments in. I've really appreciated you being involved. And anybody, please put your comments in. We are reading them. We are going to put them out there as much as we can. Great read by Nunes. Ake is a guy that plays a safe pass and Nunes took action smart. Absolutely. And I think he was really clever as well for gaining that penalty. There's so many times I see players not want to get hurt, which could actually achieve us by winning a free kick or a penalty. And that was a situation where Nunes was quite happy to stick himself on the line and take one for the team and won as a penalty. And not only that, the injury to Edison, which was, of course, not that we don't want that. That's not what anybody wants. However, Edison kind of got away with one a few games ago, I believe. I think it was against Manchester United. They say that it was a good tackle. He got the ball, but it's out of control. And on this occasion, he was out of control and he completely missed the ball and was caught out for it. Ricky, do you think we made enough of Ortega coming on? Do you feel that we made enough with the chances that we had? Do you think that the players who had the chances, do you think they did enough to actually kind of test him today? Because I'm not convinced. That I think Luis Diaz was absolutely fantastic today, but I genuinely feel like the chances that he was given, he should have scored at least one, especially the one when Salah came on and played him through. I was really disappointed with that one. What do you think?
Yeah, Luis Diaz has the chance to score. To be honest, there's always discussed with other group of friends. I said like the main difference between Luis and Jota is Jota he can finish, and Diaz he's fast. He has the talent of South American player. Like he's fast, he can drive, but why he don't finish? He has this chance to win, but like you said earlier, he was we have injured players. We came from injuries. Connor Bradley he was playing today, but I feel like Diaz has a big chance to win the game, and he wasted. Like I don't understand why. I don't know if he's nervous. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I feel like Diaz can be a key player, but sometimes I feel like he's afraid to take the challenge to lead the team like at a higher level. Like Jota, that's the main reason why I prefer Jota. He's not afraid to score in different ways, but Diaz, I feel like I don't know if he's feeling pressure or playing here with us like every fan of Liverpool, we expect like a player he came here. You need to play a higher level. We are we have we want to win trophies. We want to win every match. Draw is not a chance. So I feel like Diaz had a big chance today, but he wasted.
Yeah, I put in our chat that we had, I felt it was absolutely criminal, to be honest with you, that Diaz didn't test the goalkeeper. Not scoring is one thing, of course, that's fine, but you have to hit the target. You have to make the goalkeeper save. You have to make something of it. Missing the target, it just wasn't good enough for me, and I am really disappointed. And it reminded me very much of Diaz against Luton. He was absolutely fantastic in the fact that he was getting so many chances, and of course that game won't be remembered so much because he did eventually score a goal, and in the end the game became it didn't really matter because we scored a number of other goals. However, today this was very similar. He had the best chances of the game, in my opinion. I think Nunes had a great chance of Clement. We were chatting before. I think he had a great chance, just a very short distance between him and the goalkeeper in the 6-yard box. And it was a good save by Ortega. And that's what's important. Make the goalkeeper save. And he didn't. And that, for me, at this level of who we are and what we need, we can't keep wasting those chances. And it was really disappointing, and not because there's a lot of things that he did so well. I thought he was brilliant after that. I thought he was starting to take players on. He took Kyle Walker on and Rodri and made them both look daft. And it was like, brilliant. That's what we need. We want to see that. But at the same time, being from an attacking player in the Liverpool lineup, a player who replaced Sadio Mane, in my opinion, Sadio Mane he hits the target every single time in that situation, and that's what I was disappointed about. Clem, what were your thoughts on Luis Diaz in not just that situation, but in the game altogether?
Yeah, look, it was a mixed bag. Definitely love his effort. His runs. And he did so much to create opportunities. But unfortunately, in this game, we know that's football. You have to be clinical, and you hit the nail down in terms of when you stack up the chances City had versus us. That Diaz clear cut, that was the best chance of the game. City did not have a 1v1 on the keeper alone, and I think we had that 2-3 times. And so that's where the game's won and lost. Unfortunately, this hasn't been the first instance with Diaz. And as Ricky made the great point before, he's not clinical in front of goal. And he gives us other things, which is great, and that's how he earns his spot in the team. But in terms of just finishes, he's probably fourth or fifth in the string of the five forwards. There's definitely the Salas, the Jotas, and the Nunez's, and then you might even be able to put Gakpo, who when he strikes it cleanly is a better striker than Diaz. But yeah, he made great runs, and he created other chances for us to score for other people. So he definitely gets, he gets a pass for me. But it's disappointing, and I share your frustration with that big chance. There was also a few which we might talk about with Gakpo as well, and a few guys in the box that could have, pulled the trigger but didn't.
Yeah, I think that's a great point for us to move on. So again, I don't want to turn this into like a beating certain players with sticks and stuff, because that's not what it's about. It's just become a situation which is really unfortunate, because if you sit there and you go, if Diogo Jota's there, he hits the target. In my opinion, I don't think he doesn't hit the target, at least in one of those situations that he had. I think Luis Diaz is a fantastic footballer. I think there may well need to be a question going forward as to whether or not he is going to improve. Right now, whether it is something that he's going to improve, or whether or not this is just kind of where he is in our team, and that is for another day. So now I think it's probably worth us just kind of, as you say, as mentioned about going up towards the final 20 minutes. Liverpool were absolutely in the ascendancy. We had control of the game. Out of the blue, though, Jeremy Doku, a Bournemouth man himself, hits the post. And that was a little reminder for me. That was a reminder that this Manchester City team, even if you are, which is very rare, and probably only us, perhaps Arsenal, have this ability to control them, to be able to keep them where you want them to be, to have the ball. And out of the blue, they created, again, perhaps what is, in my opinion, the second best chance of the game, in which Doku hits the inside of the post, and luckily for us, it doesn't go in. Ricky, your thoughts on this situation going forward? So in the last 20 minutes that we played in that game, did we do, I think the main real question is, did we do enough? Do you think that we were doing enough and it was just unfortunate that we didn't get the goal? Or do you feel that there was still something lacking when it came to those clear-cut chances? Because in my opinion, I felt we did do enough, but the players that we had on the pitch, I am looking at Cody Gakpo, gratefully mentioned by Clem, who should have taken a chance later on in the game to at least have a shot. And there just seems to be this lack of maybe confidence, perhaps. Maybe it's not game time, not playing enough in the situations, that we should be taking these chances and at least trying to test that keeper. What were your thoughts on the final 20 minutes? Do you think we did enough to win the game?
Well, clearly we do enough. But like you said earlier, we have injured players. We came from injury. Suppose like we have Konate, Salah. We try our best. But I feel like those chances, like Luis Diaz, we can win with that game. And with Doku, the last 20 minutes, nothing is going to change. Let's be honest. The last 20 minutes, you can see the game. I feel like, for me, one of the biggest issues we have is we need to see at least two more midfielders. Players like, I don't know, Varela, Nicolo Varela, could be Joshua Kimmich. We need more strength because we have attacking players, but I feel like some players are not good finishers. Like Luis Diaz, he's fast, but he's not like the kind of key player like can change the team. Long time ago, I don't know if you remember playing Torres when he arrived. He was outstanding the first moment. And Luis Diaz, I feel like I said, I feel he feel pressure playing a big team, because fans is going to do better every time, because the whole team. Let's see the whole season. There's sometimes he plays good, sometimes he plays bad. So I think the 20 minutes is not going to change. We have the big chance to win City. We lose a penalty. It's a controversial decision. All the fans around the world are going to see this, and I feel like nothing is going to change the last 20 minutes. We try to do enough. So that's what I think.
Yeah, Clem, same question to you. And then coming up towards the end, we'll go around the room and have an opinion as to whether or not that was a penalty. And if it was a penalty or not, what was your opinions on should the referee have been allowed to go and have another look at it? So last 20 minutes, had we done enough to win the game? Or do you think that maybe we didn't? And what was your opinions on the Doku challenge on McAllister?
Yeah, overall, I'm fairly happy with how the second half went. Going into the game, I wasn't sure how many clear-cut chances we would have. I knew that would be the difference between whether we would win, draw, or lose, whether we took our chances. But I knew we were going to create some chances. But sitting here and looking at how many chances we created, I'm perfectly fine. Like, you don't really get that many chances against City, and we had our chances. And we talked about the ones that we didn't take. So yeah, I thought the last 20 minutes were great. We pushed them. The midfield, as we talked about, we're giving them their flowers, and I get my chance to also echo your thoughts on Endo, McAllister as well. I think the fact that they've both played each other's positions, kind of, or McAllister's been in Endo's position, helps them have that synchronization as well. Endo played some great balls through, which actually created some chances. Then he had the flick on. As well. So the chances were coming from everywhere. It wasn't just like one or two guys dominating. And a shout out to Harvey Elliott as well, who did impact the game a lot as well early. We know that's not his preferred position. He's much better in the midfield. But in terms of the Doku one, look, when it was live, I wasn't sure, but now that I've watched it, I'm fuming, because I felt McAllister actually got the first touch on the ball, let alone the studs, being as high as they were. Right, it's a stonewall penalty anywhere else. Yeah.
There's two comments that have been made. The first comment that was made on Sky Sports, for those of you who aren't watching in England, was by Jamie Carragher, who said that it wasn't a penalty because it was in the box. However, it's a free kick anywhere else. That makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. It's a foul or it's not. It's as simple as that. The line doesn't need to be drawn. And the second comments, and if we wanted just to ignore any sort of potential how we feel about it as a club, Jurgen Klopp's words were clear penalty for all football people on this planet. And I am also one of them. My problem with it, and this is I don't want to turn this as the VAR show, because that's generally where most football's going. And I think Ricky made some really good comments earlier on about referees and their influence on football matches. Michael Oliver, I don't think he had an amazing game. I think he made some good decisions. I think he made some poor decisions. I think he allowed Kyle Walker to get away with a couple, and he did. And that was that old age idea of let the game flow, don't influence the match early on, don't give a yellow card. And then as the second half rolls on, we start getting yellow cards out for tackles that happened in the first half. Just be consistent. Don't give them in the second half if you weren't going to give them in the first half. I'm okay with that. My problem was, it's okay to miss that situation as a referee. You're a human. You might not have seen it. You might have thought you got the ball. You might have felt like, I'm okay with that. In that instance, in that situation of, no, I'm not convinced that's a foul or a penalty. What I don't like is the fact that VAR has every opportunity to re-look at that. They look at that situation and he kicks him. He kicks him in the chest. And rightfully said, it's a foul outside the box. But where I disagree with Jamie Carragher is, it's a penalty. It's a foul in the box just as much as it is. And my issue was, It's VAR who's been quite happy all season to make it about them, to go back to situations, and we're going to look at this and go, no, that was an offside because he was involved and he blocked a player off in a final in the Carabao Cup. That's it. We'll happily go in there and say this was a handball and that wasn't a handball. However, that's not consistent either in any other game. That is a penalty, and VAR will give that decision under two circumstances. Firstly, if that happened in the 70th minute, they'll allow the referee to go and have a look at that. And secondly, that's a penalty in any other game except for Liverpool versus Manchester City, because they didn't want to be the ones who influenced the title race. It was a foul, and they made a decision because they were too scared to come under any further flack from the media. The media would have come out there and rinsed them for giving a penalty. Oh my God, they've handed them the title because it's no, it's a foul. And it's really disappointing that we are sat here and we are the team who miss out on it because of a situation that the referee, Michael Oliver, who I'm not blaming in the situation, should have been allowed to go and have another look. He can go and have a look and he can sit there and make his own mind up and he can come back and say to us, no, it's not a penalty. But that referee should be allowed a second opportunity to see what we've seen. And for me, it's an absolute stonewall. Ricky, your opinions on it? Was it a penalty?
Yeah, it was a penalty. Some people, like you said, the media is going to, if they give us the penalty, all the media is going to attack. Liverpool, they're going to call us Liverpool. Okay, I feel like it was a penalty. You can deny it. I feel like referees in England, not only in England, around the world, here in South America, are a mess. We have VAR. What is the point of having a VAR if you can know how to use? You have the technology. Why you can improve your decisions? You need to look. If the player is injured, okay, it's nothing happened. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. Is in the box. I understand that, but it was in the box. So why it's not a penalty for the referees? I feel like those decisions is going to affect everyone. It's not the first time. Like Arteta was saying, like talk about VAR, and there was a controversial. He was saying, no, is there the best decisions? When Arsenal got affected, he said, no, those kind of decisions can happen. So what is the point? I don't understand what is going on in England with those decisions, these kind of decisions.
No, 100%. And the only thing I can come back to it, and I can't even defend it. I'm trying to find a devil's advocate situation where I can sit there and say there was something else in it. I just don't see what the benefit of the VAR asking Michael Oliver, do you want to have another look at that? You don't need to influence him. They don't need to sit there and play it play by play. Allow him to watch it from another angle, to give him the opportunity to say, are you happy that that's not a foul? Are you happy that that is okay? Because he didn't. And if he doesn't change his mind, at least we know the referee's that's his mindset. That's what he wanted to do. The referee who can influence the game on the pitch has had the full opportunity to say that's a foul or it's not. It's absolutely a foul anywhere else on the pitch because we see them, don't we? We see a player, he goes in with his head or his chest. He goes in with the foot. It doesn't have to be a yellow card. It doesn't, but it's still a foul. It's still they've tried to win the ball with the wrong part of the body because they've overstretched themselves, and that's what's happened here. I just think they were really lucky, Man City, and it's not Man City cheating is in that situation. That's just the rub of the green. Sometimes you get it that way. I'm just disappointed that VAR, who's quite happy on a number of occasions to make themselves the centre of attention and influence football matches by making decisions. But today, no, we won't do that. We won't make ourselves a centre of attention because, as rightfully said by Ricky, we don't want to make it. We don't want to be called Liverpool and VAR's out there to support Liverpool. It's not. It's meant to have been brought in there to ensure that decisions have been made more consistently. It can't get everything right. Football can't be perfect. Decisions can't be made perfectly. It's subjective. A foul is a subjective situation. But we have 45 different cameras from around the world that we can look at these situations and go, right, are you happy with that? And he didn't. And I believe that it should have been looked at. And I'm sure at some point he'll come out there and say that we've been adversely affected by more VAR decisions than any other team, and that's the way the cookie crumbles for us. But back on to more positive situations, and before us to wrap up there, boys, I'm just going to go around the room and ask who are your top 3 players and your man of the match. So that's 4 players, man of the match, and 3 players who are standouts for you. Just gives you a bit more of an opportunity to throw the flowers at players that you were impressed with. I'll start with Clem, and then I'll do mine at the end.
Yeah. I think it was we mentioned earlier. Look, Endo, McAllister. I think it's a toss-up between who could get man of the match, but I'll probably give Endo the edge. He created some chances. I want to give some shout-outs again to Harvey Elliott, Kwanzaa, I think, and I thought Bradley was very solid. And you mentioned earlier, Dan. We have to take into account that these are youngsters from the academy that we didn't expect to factor in this season alone, let alone the biggest game of the season, and absolutely hold their heads up high, because they did their job. We just needed players on the pitch to do a job today, and we did that. We were the better team overall over 90 minutes because of a lot of guys. And then, of course, Kelleher's save early in the game. We could have been down, like as you said, one of the best chances in the first 10 minutes. And I don't blame Kelleher for the goal as well. So I think, Kelleher continues to be the best number 2. And then, up front, there was obviously, Nunez who created the goal as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Ricky, your 3 players you want to put a shout out to and your man of the match for me, please.
So, Endo, Kelleher, he's doing a great job, and the pressure to be like a Alisson replacement is big. He's showing like, I can do my job, and we can blame Kelleher for the goal. He's doing a great job. I like Kelleher, and Endo, and McAllister, my 3 players. But I feel like one thing I would like to change about how is every time we have the ball, is like, oh, we have the ball, we need to do faster, like the all heavy metal we like to play. I feel like we lost this style, and you can see this. I think if we play like the all heavy metal with club, is going to do better. We need to improve every game, because every game is a final. I feel like we need to see the game like this. And my key player is Endo and Kelleher and McAllister, for sure. They're doing better. They're fit. They're in better form than other players. And Conor Bradley, he was great too. I think he has a bright future with us. I hope the next manager give enough opportunities like Club.
No, 100%. And I've got to kind of echo everything that you said, because there wasn't a player on there who gave out a bad performance. There was performances which I think some of them would have had disappointing moments in, absolutely. But I think everyone gave a really good account of themselves under the circumstances that we had. Everything they've said about the young lads, Jarell Kwanzaa, who it amazes us that 6 months ago, not one of us could have really sat here and said we knew anything about the kid. And he's been fantastic. He's fitted into our team, and we didn't sit there and go, oh, we're missing Kanate today. We're missing Kanate. Like, no, he came up against Erling Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, and didn't look out of place. And he's 20 years of age, and that's brilliant. Conor Bradley, 20 years of age, again, comes in there to take over from, by the way, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And could you believe we haven't missed him? I can't believe I'm saying those words, that we haven't missed Trent Alexander-Arnold. Today, I would have loved to have had him as an option. I'd love him to have been able to be fit enough for him to start the game, or even to end the game. That would have been brilliant for us to have someone with his vision and the ability that he has. But Conor Bradley has been able to do what can only be described as a brilliant impression of Trent Alexander-Arnold in the time that we've had to. And the same with Kevin Kelleher, absolutely fantastic. He's taken over for Alisson. I was a big critic of Kelleher earlier on in the season. I genuinely felt like his time had run, his time had done. Some of the performances that he put out there were quite poor. He'd missed out on some of the guys. You know, he played against Fulham, wasn't great. Played against Leicester in the League Cup, wasn't brilliant. Played in the Europa games, and some of them were like, oh, I'm not so sure. But what he's done is gone and improved and put himself at a standard which is, I mean, he's the first team goalkeeper for 17 teams in the Premier League, in my opinion. I don't think there's many teams he doesn't become the first team goalkeeper for. So yeah, I'm happy enough with that one. Virgil van Dijk deserves a very big shout out. He did something which we put up on the channel on our Twitter, which we kind of, it goes under the radar now because it's what we expect of him. Erling Haaland's one-on-one with him, doesn't get panicked, doesn't commit to a tackle, doesn't do anything other than no, you're going over here, mate, and you're going to take the shot I want you to take. And he took a very tame shot at Gavin Kelleher. And they said it was a draw in the commentary. They said, oh, it's a draw between the two. No, Virgil van Dijk has absolutely shepherded him, and he's such an incredible player. But for me, my man of the match is Alexis McAllister by a hair's breadth, on the basis that he's come into this team, scores the penalty, massive pressure on that penalty to ensure that we don't drop too many points against Manchester City. Was absolutely denied another Stonewall penalty. Played some fantastic passes, and on another day, perhaps we get an assist. Perhaps we look at this as a big win. But yeah, boys, thank you very much for everyone. Thank you, Clem. Thank you, Ricky, for coming on for today. I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone who's been involved. Jesse, CBB's just putting his messages there. Nick's, really do appreciate you putting your messages in. Thank you very much. We have another show starting in half an hour. So if you are stuck for something to do this evening, join the boys later for that one. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, I've been Dan, LFC Transfer Room. See you later, guys. Thank you.